Hey everyone, welcome to Granblue Radio. This is episode number 279. Um,
That's a lot.
so, what's up?
Said that's a lot.
Yeah, this week it started weird and then it got big. So this is gonna be a long episode. Um, Before anything else, this is Vibrating Sheep of Granblue underscore EN, and with me to yell at me when I get things wrong.
Hi, it's DJ. We didn't even do entries last week, I noticed.
We didn't?
Nope.
Oh, man.
Here we are
That's
now.
so anyway, so the week started with me waking up and being told that the Chainsmokers um, had sampled Granblue Fantasy in their new album. The album, by the way, that they'd waited what 3 years to release.
It's been a while.
It's been a while since the last Chainsmokers album. Um, but yeah, yeah. There's a lot to go over. There's a lot to process. Like it's not just Christmas Clarice as a sample. You got to go way deep into the journal to find this in Granblue Fantasy itself. What I found out is that there is a website out there where you just press a button and it plays it for you, which is probably where
How
they
they
found
found
it.
it.
Yeah, it's kind of like how what is it, Anime Girl Noises, that Twitter account. It's one of those kinds of things. But in order to get this, you have to go into events, side
This is the United
events.
fight, right?
It was like a Unite and Fight Winter 2016,
16?
2015, something like that. Like it is way back there. Actually, the best place to go in the journal to find it again. Anyway, the point is, it's super obscure. It has nothing to do with the song either, because the song is a breakup song.
I love you.
It's like, I'm trying to find the reasons why, and it's just like,
You work
whew.
this out. Anyways,
Anyway, so yeah, that wasn't the weirdest thing that happened this week. The weirdest thing that happened this week is that the rebalances actually looked good for a character who's been rebalanced multiple times, and it's never looked like this before. So anyway, all that out of the way, we've got 13 characters to go over, one at a time. One new character, 12 rebalanced characters. So let's start with the new character, shall we?
yeah, Iroha.
All right. So
She does
Iroha,
not have a bow.
she has a bow, but she doesn't have bow specialty. There's a difference. She actually does pull out a bow in order to fire it in her skills. Right, it's one of her skills. Shoots a bow.
I don't pay
Yeah,
attention
it's
to
right. Yeah,
weapons
the
sometimes.
icon is even a bow. Amatsu Chon.
I see skill 2.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, we have a bow, not a bow specialty. What's up, side games? Do we just want to keep bow characters down?
Look, let's just let's just move on. All right, so Iraha was the unlock for the second half of FF11, and um, the one of the more important stats on her is that she is voiced by one of your favorites, DJ, and one of
Yeah, I love
mine.
Minato.
Yeah, but using a voice that we haven't heard her use before. Like she
I
goes,
actually have, but
okay, once.
in FGO actually.
Oh, okay. So they had her go like deep and like powerful instead of her usual like soft and cute or complete
Uh,
deadpan.
it, it's one of the things you can get with Rhaenys.
Okay, that's fair. So anyway, the bar is Prish, and I don't think she meets the Prish bar, but I think that she's just really cool on her own. So let's go over what this is. So a lot of people were very confused at first because she has something called Kacho Fugetsu,
What does that translate into?
like nature's beauty or something like that.
She's a goddess. I understand.
Because it's literally it's literally flowers, birds,
Bird.
wind, and the moon, aka things that are beautiful according to like Japanese poetic and artistic tradition, right?
Okay.
So anyway, so Kacho Fugetsu got confusing for a little bit because they don't have any listed effect other than using skills and charge attack in a specific order. So she's the advanced skill chain character. Um, the buffs do have a hidden effect because of her passive here, Meditate. So let's start there. So if she's at Ka, she gets 10% double attack, 10% perpetuity attack, was it?
10% perpetuity.
Yeah. And then each step of it gives her another 10%. So
Yep.
at Getsu, she gets 40% double attack, 40% uh, perpetuity attack, which is weird because Getsu will almost never actually take effect because it will eat
It's used
itself
up
at the end.
immediately.
Yeah, so she has to have double strike, which, admittedly, she's in the right element to have. She's fire.
I
So,
mean, also don't forget that with meditate, when Getsu is consumed,
mhm.
skill 1 and skill 2 go off cooldown. So they're immediately you're going back to having at least Cho.
Right. But it is really funny that Getsu is a state that you had to test for, and you're just like, I have to give this character double strike in order to actually benefit from this. So anyway, let's keep going. So you want to use, just because she's a Final Fantasy XI character, you want to use her abilities in the specific order set out. The immediate thought is, wait, she has 2 red and then a yellow.
One
Well,
turn cooldown on start.
it's like, okay. So in order to get the full sequence, you do skill 1. So she does um, a decent amount of fire damage. It's like a 600k nuke, right?
730.
730? Okay, so it's relatively strong. Then she lowers defense along with another nuke.
That double activates.
Mm-hmm. And then it
And
gives
hits
her...
all foes. So if you're fighting Tiamat, you should see a big number fly across.
Nice. And then while you're doing this, by the way, she does have the secret idol... She's secretly an idol master.
Yeah, if you have her EMP skill, you get boost to charge bar upon using a skill.
So, like, even if she somehow cannot attack for whatever reason, she will now have, 50-ish meter.
Yeah, if you have your crew ship buff up.
Mm-hmm. And, because she has plus double attack, it's likely you'll have more, but it doesn't matter. The next turn, Fuga comes off of cooldown. She gets dodge all. She gets, 50 to 60 meter, depending on the state of her EMPs. Now she has full meter. She gets dodge all. She then CAs, which gives this. So how big is the nuke on Gachi?
800k.
800k? And then she gives herself that Getsu effect, which lets you immediately next turn go back to Cho state. And then whenever Fuga's up, you'll do this again because the plus 50 meter on Fuga means that most of the time when she presses that button, she will go to like almost 100 meter.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
state. And
So
the thing is that you don't worry about the sequencing in full auto because the first 2 skills will go off cooldown like more often than the Fuga gets off cooldown. So
mhm. Yeah, so it's one of those things where it may not be as like sheer power filled as Prish, but it doesn't need to be, and it's just elegant. Like it's cool. Then
she
there's a
also
bunch.
starts with auto revive. That's funny.
Yeah, she has auto revive, um, and yeah, like this character is just a cool design. She is a well built engine, is what I will call her.
Yeah, she works. She
Yeah,
works fine.
she works and she works well. And you know what?
If you're a newbie, this is a great kit, by the way, because it aids in nuke damage. Most of the time, you're struggling to get any damage on the board first when you're starting out in the
She
game.
she has 20% defense down on the first turn also.
Yeah, and it's extra 30. It's not bad.
Yeah. On turn 3, most of the time you will have that ready. So it's cool. I like it. I mean, let's see. Is Code Geass permanently inside stories yet? Let me go check
I don't
because
remember.
it is. So if you're just starting out and you have the opportunity to pick her up and pick up like Callan, you have a pretty good set of characters right out the gate. You know?
Yeah, Callan with her, not delay, her
Gravity.
gravity.
Hmm. Like you have a lot of the tools that you just need to get through the game for a while. Like
Yeah,
Iroha survives for a surprisingly long amount of time for a character who has no like defense explicitly written in her kit other than a dodge all.
yeah.
All right, so that's that. Anything else you want to add about Iroha?
I want more Minasa Nori characters. Thank you.
I mean, that's fair. All right, let's keep going then. So the other big thing that happened this week, the rebalance. So the rebalance that we were warned about in December, all of them, like half of them, dropped at once. So here's game balance update.
Yeah,
Um,
it was a lot.
there are 12 characters here.
Before we only got like four at a time.
We got four at a time, and then they dropped 12 on us at once because they were doing like they did dark first, then we got I can't remember the order of wind and light, but we got those separately. And now, actually no, wind and light were the same day, weren't they? They were. We I remember them covering us covering them at the same time.
Ah, progression.
So we went 4, then 8, then 12. All right, so I have let's see, these changes are what like 30ish hours old or something like that. We haven't had too much time with them, but we split up the responsibilities of testing these things out. And so
Did
let's
we
go.
split up our responsibilities? I think we just did our own thing and it ended up that way.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair too. Some of these are favorites, and like you've been waiting for them to rebalance Elisa for a long time. So start
She
us
was
off,
so
DJ.
bad.
She was
All right.
pretty bad.
So we're gonna start off with her CA. Her CA, they removed her 50%, 80% crit. I don't understand why that was there in the first place
Mhm.
because her skill 2 did that at the same time and they don't stack.
Mhm. Okay.
So they got rid of that and they exchanged that up for getting skill 1 off cooldown.
And skill
Uh,
one is the dodge encounter. It's the tank encounter now.
yes.
All right, you're gonna get to that.
So her skill 1 now, it doesn't consume meter. Thank you.
How much did it take before? Was it like 50? It was
25.
25. Ugh.
It was a substitute with a dodge and counter for 3 times for 2 turns. So, so sometimes remember that when you dodge and counter, if you get hit, it doesn't count. You don't get a counter.
Right, you need tank encounter for that, which is why they now have dodge or tank encounter.
Correct.
Which is
Also, a lot of times, when an enemy hits everybody, you don't dodge sometimes.
hmm.
So now it's 5 times of dodge slash tank encounter for
How
three
long does it
turns.
last? 3 turns? That's pretty solid. Okay, sure.
Yeah, so you were able to pretty much get more actually counters off, which goes in line with her new passive.
Hmm.
Her new passive is she amps her counters by 30%.
Okay.
With the what's it called, the one foe attack up, a cap up thing
Hmm.
that you can have on your Opus or your Ultima.
Hmm.
Mine, her was countering for like 1.2 million each time.
So for reference, by the way, the Eternal who gets amplify counter damage, it's how much is that? Oh, he's level 120. I think it's around the same number. So that's not awful.
Yeah, I'm looking at Seox right now. Yeah, yeah, his is 30% amplify.
Yeah. So it takes him level 120 to get there. I mean, sure, he hits harder than her naturally, but we're 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 distributing things that they deemed safe to put onto Eternals into other characters now, and it's like, hey, that's nice.
Yep. Next thing is that they changed how Thunder works for skill 3.
Hmm.
It does way more now.
I can see that.
Yeah, it used to just be a 4-turn nuke that stacked her attack.
It also used to have, by the way, the most generic icon. Like I think Flame Wreath was just like the regular old fireball, and now
Oh,
it
you're looking at Flame Wreath?
yeah. Well, I'm just looking at she used to have super generic um icons. Like she just had the
Oh
the
yeah.
generic Fire 2 fireball, and yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So anyways, with Thunder, it does the stacking the attack up for unique modifier
Okay.
up to 50% and can't be removed. By the way.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, you need to hit that 5 times. It's a 4 turn cooldown. You're gonna hit it.
Mhm.
Uh, the next thing is that it gives 25 meter on the second cast. It's
Mhm.
a 4 turn cooldown.
Mhm.
And the last one is that it's a 3k heal on the third cast and beyond. It helps her survivability a lot because you want to use her hostility node because she's going to counter a lot, and sometimes you'll take damage.
Mhm.
The next thing they did was they changed her ever strong passive.
So what did it
Uh,
used to
it,
be?
it used to that when you get targeted once per turn, you can you stack up and you stacks to 10. I don't actually know what the numbers are on because Wiki uses the same icon for the old things,
Yeah, well,
and
it's
they
fine. Don't worry about it.
changed how it doesn't work. Instead, every time you counter, you can do this multiple times a turn, up
Mhm.
to 5. You get a buff. In order, it's 100% defense, 20% damage reduction, guaranteed double attacking, debuff immunity, and buffs can't be removed.
So, um, I think when we were looking at this, we were looking at Earth Sarah, who gets a version of that, right?
Kind of, yeah.
And like that's sort of the base mechanic. Like she gets them in on taking damage. So you said, so Ever Strong Spirit you can get multiple times in a turn,
Correct, because you counter multiple times a turn, because each counter is a different instance.
right? And if you've played six enough times, you've seen that that guy actually will counter six times if he has the opportunity to. So the 5 and 2 turns. So if you're fighting something that hits a bunch of times for small damage, which is an occasional thing that they'll do, Grimnir has a few attacks that'll do that, for example. Then she'll counter all
Mm-hmm.
5 times, and she'll have all of these on turn one. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, yeah, it's really good.
So,
It's not as
go ahead.
potent as like Kumbira doing it because Kumbira also does like gets a stupid stack that leads to bigger damage,
hmm
but it's fine.
So the thing that I will be sad about is that she did lose the substitute, and she
I don't
has
care
no
about that.
hostility up that I can see.
She has a
She has
hostility node.
she has an EMP, and so essentially the use case for her involves like either bosses that attack all four characters at once, or
Which is
bosses
often.
or bosses who attack a lot of little hits, and you don't have someone like Athena who is absorbing all of the hate, like an inordinately high amount of the hate. So, not having that substitute does kind of hurt, but
I
it's
don't agree with that because of how the old substitute worked which was you were trying to dodge and counter.
right, right. Like
And
this works more
most of
easily.
the instances that you want to substitute are the instances that you are going to take damage regardless.
hmm So, yeah, I mean, the best thing about this though, it works. It works. You look at it and you go, okay, this character wants to get into a stance and take some damage. Then she might dodge. If she dodges, that's fine. Then she'll kick him in the face a couple times, get buffs based on the number of times she kicked him in the face. Then she gets to try to keep looping it with Thunder, where after a while it gives her meter, which feeds into the CA, which feeds into the dodge and counter, which it loops.
Yeah,
It's
I really, when my testing, I didn't see waves of fire off cooldown for that much.
mhm. Yeah, Rodran in chat does say that if she did substitute, she'd probably die really badly because she would substitute all the time.
True.
All right. Um, do you want to talk about Frau next, or do you want to go straight to Colossus and then loop back to Frau?
My nose went to Colossus, so
Yeah. Okay. That's what I figured because like Frau we'll talk about after we talk about how Colossus is now like the ultimate king of bringing in Frau.
Colossus is ultimate king of bringing in everybody.
This is all right. So, old Colossus still needed to get to 200 meter to CA. Um, had a really powerful CA, but like the process of getting to 200 meter was A,
Long, boring.
not just long
You,
and boring. A lot of the time, you just wouldn't get to 200-meter before Colossus went into standby mode, and then just gave itself 200-meter anyway.
yeah, and remember, you still standby mode on turn 5.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff about Colossus didn't change. The stuff that did change is huge. So Flashpoint, what a glow up.
One one turn cooldown. No longer an uplift. Instead, just gives you 200 meter immediately.
200-meter immediately, which, as a reminder, since it's not showing the Colossus as a character right now, Colossus's CA is unworldly damage and double dispel. And before, we just ignored that because like it would only ever happen once.
You go
Now it
into standby
happens
mode.
like 3 times. Yeah. So, like, let's see. So it's a 3.3 million base, which is, about twice what other characters get. It's the unworldly thing. And the
Yep.
thing is that it had no drawback other than requiring 200-meter. Uh Now the drawback is that Colossus eats 30% of its max HP, which isn't even a drawback.
It's really not a drawback. The drawback is that you can't use this when you're below 30% HP.
But that's kind of the plan. Like the plan for Colossus, uh, you look at force field or in standby mode, and you're just like, really, what you want to do with this character is put it in standby mode and then let it die. After it does, it's like big damage. You just say goodbye. So now, force field, it went from being a freaking
One turn buff, by the way.
one turn buff. It's like why? Why to a 3-turn buff, which is great.
Yeah, he gets to live. If you want to even let him live in full auto.
hmm So anyway, the new Colossus pattern is turn one, 200-meter, lose 30% health, slam sword into dimensions. Turn two, eat another
Same thing.
30% HP.
Same thing on turn 3.
Do it again. Turn three, do it again. Turn four, you're out
Turn
of
4,
health.
turn 4, force field's off, by the way.
Yeah, force field falls off. You can't flashpoint anymore. Okay,
Remember
that's
that
a
heat also decreases his defense.
yeah. Um, and then yeah, hopefully the character either dies or goes into standby mode, does one last gigantic CA, and then gives way to this character up here. It's a really cool tag in, honestly. Yeah. The comparison to Summer Silva is pretty apt, where the character exists to let out a few giant CAs, and
And
then
tag out.
let someone else, let someone else go. So, all right, let's talk about Frau. They did the number one thing that we asked for.
They switched the button and put 1 and 2.
The part that
Other thing they
go ahead.
did really well was that they changed Crimson Nightmare's cooldown to match Strange Attractors.
So, Crimson Nightmare is a really powerful debuff, honestly. Like it's mega charm, Nightmare Temptation, and um, there's a there's another one, Nightmare Scarlet, which is
Supplemental.
10% damage amp,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. There's
And
no
so
damage cap on this, by the way.
yeah, and so when you do this, so now when this is only if she comes in from the back, of course, which is why we talked about this with the context of Colossus. So when she comes in from the back through a death and not through a character swap, then she will cast Crimson Nightmare first. She'll inflict two turns of Nightmare Temptation, 2 turns of Nightmare Scarlet. Then she will immediately extend it by 2 turns, so you have 4. So it's now 4 out of 6 uptime, which
Yeah,
is awesome. 4 out of 6 uptime on a 10% damage amp. It's pretty good.
yeah, it's real good.
Anyway, that's all there is to say about Frau. Like they
Yeah,
did the
literally my
exact.
note said this is all I really needed.
This is all we needed.
She is still a character that you have to switch in from the back. That's fine. That's literally fine.
Yeah, I mean, I want that to get her domain active anyway for Indominus. So she has extra double casts on Indominus.
Double heal.
Yeah, double heal, double clarity, double dispel. Yeah, the double dispel, by the way, it's gonna come up now that we're scrolling down to Greya. So, all right, these are the things that happened to Greya. She
She does
lost
more damage
the.
than my Elisa, by the
What was
way.
that?
She does way more damage than my Elisa.
Greya does.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So Greya is really, really simplified. Um, so first of all, there's Draco Force. Like Draco Force was what she was built around, and Draco Force is four out of. It's like
4 out of 6.
4 out of 6 now.
Well, it's always been that way. It just that can't be removed anymore.
Yeah. So the part where it can't be removed, that's kind of nice. Sure, fine. They changed her CA. She used to get, I think it was like amplified damage against Draco Force.
Uh 50% CA damage, 20% CA damage
Cap up.
boost.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
They replaced it with 4 extra hits of fire damage. Sure, that's good. It.
185k per hit, and fire does have an access to skill supplemental.
Mhm. And so that's an easy damage boost right there. Then we have cleansing burst. Now it activates twice against anything with Draco Force, so she has double dispel, which you also have on command with Colossus, and which you have on Frau, and on Zeta, and on Elmont. So this is not unique. It's fine.
I
It's
mean, it's way
fine.
better than her old skill too, which
It
was literally do 10% more damage on this nuke.
yeah. So now it doubles the damage now. So I'm not gonna complain about that. Then we have Dragonheart, um, and the cooldown is shorter, which is welcome. Having 8 turns of cooldown. I think Dragonheart also used to be her source of triple attacking.
Correct. They switched
On
that with her passive one.
Yeah, on 8, it was on an 8 turn cooldown, and it's just like this downtime is really long. Like old Hellas and other characters like that had it, and you're just like, oh, please no. So now it's a very simple skill. She gives crit, she gets 30% chaser. It's 3 out of 6 uptime. It's fine. It's caught up to certain things, and then she has a new support. So yeah, whenever there's Draco Force, she gets 50% perpetuity attack.
It used to be unique only. The perpetuity is way better.
Hmm. And she guaranteed triple attacks without having to use up any other resources for it. As long as Draco Force is on there, she triple attacks. So 4 out of 6 turns, which is effectively 3 out of 6 turns, because one of those turns she's going to CA. She has guaranteed triple attack. It's very simple.
There's actually even 6 out of 6 turns if you bring in Frau.
Yeah, that's true. And so
Uh,
like
my note in here was Frau until they print out and Fire. Frau's best friend is Greya.
there's nothing wrong with this. Like it's nothing to write home about because, like I said, like one of the biggest features on here is, oh yeah, she can dispel twice. Cool. And there's a bunch of other characters who can do it. If you don't have any of those other characters, then it's fine.
I mean,
You could use
one of
this
these
just
characters you can
fine.
make.
What was that?
One of these characters is free to make.
Yeah. But none of them are limited to be like very clear about this. A lot of the time we're like, oh yeah, this is something that a seasonal character has. Like no, this is on Colossus who's in regular pool, Elmot who's in regular pool, Zeta who isn't she one of the characters you can roll um on your first roll? Who's the fire of the original 6 again? Is it
Probably.
Zeta?
I don't think it's Zeta because Zeta was not in the. Is it?
I think it is. So if you're starting a new account, you have a 1 in 6 chance of getting Zeta. Oh, is it
Yes.
in Hellas?
Wait, I'm pretty sure it's Hellas.
Is it Hellas?
I don't know. Let me check.
Yeah, okay.
Fine beginner tickets.
It's one of those two. It might be Hellas. But anyway, like I said, like there's nothing wrong with this. It's solid. It's not embarrassing. It's not like far behind the times, and I don't know. It is something that when a 5-star Grea hits, we'll take a look at this again and be like, all right, let's see how they turbocharge this.
I'm too lazy to figure this out. It's on a wiki.
All right. So anyway, um, let's move on, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay. So here's who wants to talk about Phantom Thieves because I do. Chat Noir has been a meme for a very long time. And note that when he did get rebalanced, they didn't make him bad. It's just that there was never any one situation where he was good enough for you to bring him.
I
Because
mean,
it's like,
he was still kind of bad.
yeah,
I'm looking at his old kit.
his old kit never gave you what you wanted while you wanted it. And so that's, yeah. So anyway, they've managed to try and keep the Phantom Thief flavor, but also make it a kit that works. And so, where do you want to start? Do we start with his passive?
You start with forewarning. You have to start with forewarning.
Okay. So challenge letter, forewarning effect to a foe. So the new forewarning is
It's
a
a permanent debuff
is a permanent debuff, and it comes with it's the same effect as
single
Miserable Mist, but it stacks with Miserable Mist.
because it's on the single multiplier instead of
Hmm.
a dual.
Yeah, so it does not stack with things like Armor Break and Arrow Rain. But anyway, so now the cooldown is longer, but that's okay because there's no downtime.
You don't have to cast it again for forewarning.
Hmm. You warn them once. All right. So the forewarning leads to everything else here. So you send them the letter, and then Phantom Thief. Now, um, it gives him dodge all. It used to have like the random time delay debuff, didn't it?
So I wrote in my notes here that it's now that part of it is now in skill 3.
Yeah. So anyway, so that we'll get to that later. But like the effect of it before was just one of those things where you had a random time delay debuff, and you're like, why? So anyway, and if they have forewarning, he does 4 hits of bonus water damage, and things like Night of Ice and all sorts of other things like that will help boost that. Cool. Um, After that, we have Riddle Me This. Riddle Me This was, um, it was the same as like Vania's skill. It would suck out one dot and then give it as meter to your team. And it was like that was the only part of his kit that worked. By the way, basically.
Also, you had to be in forewarning already in order for it to be a suck. It used to require forewarning,
Ugh.
which was on a 3 turn. It had only 3 turns of availability.
Out of 4. All right. Anyway, okay. Now it activates twice with forewarning, and double delay is something that a few characters already have. But you know what? More characters who get this is good.
That's 40 meter. That's 40 meter from your enemy.
Yeah. Um.
On
So
top
that.
of this, now is
Mhm.
that forewarning no longer changes into Riddle. Riddle is just a buff that he has normally.
Mhm. So yeah, they took a lot of the needless complication out of it, and they just said, "All right, once you have forewarning, these things are better. Just hit the forewarning debuff." All right, Spectacular Heist. His new skill 3 incorporates all of the old CA effects into one button, and it is the Eustace grenade style.
Which also means it doesn't activate in full auto. That's fine.
Oh well. So step
You
num-
choose.
the there's the smoke screen, which blinds. It's a dirt standard blind. It's 180 seconds. Actually, or is it local?
It's local.
It's 3 turns of
Three
local.
turns.
3 turns of local. Sure. Then there is like I forget what the in Japanese it's steal your heart. In English I forget
And
what
a
it is.
light crooner.
All right. Um, where it's local charm,
3 turns.
and then the last one is
Enthralling ether.
is paralyzed for what 2?
2 turns.
2 turns.
All of these buttons will do 700k based on the current HP
Mm-hmm.
and remove a buff. It's Glittery's button.
Yes. And the thing is that you now get the one that you want when you want it, which is huge, very huge. Anyway, so new supports. Yeah, they completely just scrapped his old supports because honestly, his old supports just used to explain what forwarding did.
So they didn't actually. They
That was
actually had
the
something
very
else.
first version of Chat Noir.
Yes. So before it used to be like 20% unique, 20% defense when you're fighting someone with forewarning.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's 50% chance of 30% crits and 30% dodge.
The 30% dodge is actually very important because yeah, along with the dodge all on his CA, then you want to be able to do this often. You want to be able to dodge whenever you can, even when he's not under like dodge all.
Yeah, you
So,
just don't trust your eyes.
yeah. So every time he dodges, then in order, uh, first of all he gets attack,
30% perpetuity.
then he gets guaranteed multi attacks, um, which is pretty significant when he has a button that tries to turn 2 of your enemy's dots into 40 meter for everybody. So, gaining a minimum of 22 meter a turn and then having a button with 40, it's like, yeah, that's a lot of dodging. So then after that, we get boost to CA specs.
50% damage, 30% cap.
Then he gives himself Revitalize, which is
It's
another
standard
source of meter.
revitalized.
What was that?
Standard revitalized is healing 500. You assume he's gonna be at a
Full
max
health.
health. He's dodging.
Mm-hmm. And so, he's even more ways to give himself meter to dodge with. And then, the final one, he does 4 hits of damage when he dodges.
148k per hit. It's the same as him doing a CA.
Mm-hmm. And then his EMP, they changed it out. He now has Chaser against enemies that have forewarning.
They change it to remove the part where you need Riddle sometimes
Mm-hmm.
because Riddle is always there.
So let's review. This character has permanent Chaser now. He has a button that you suck out 2 dots and you get 40 meter. He has a reliable either blind or charm. Um, if the enemy is vulnerable to paralyze, you can choose that one as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he does a lot of damage.
And I also know that his old "Don't Trust Your Eyes" was with Riddle, 100% DA, 25% TA. That was
Uh,
so bad. That's so bad.
look, look, we're gonna keep going.
I only lasted 3 turns. Woo, 3 turns.
Yeah. But yeah, so all of that in mind, Chat Noir now works as a character.
He has a
He
permanent
works
chaser.
he works well as a character. Like he's actually really good at hit count. Um, like he will essentially give you a minimum of like 4 hits without pressing a skill. Um, and if he CAs, he gives you like 5 hits. That's not bad at all. And then you can add on other effects like other stuff that'll give him more chasers or whatever. And that's a roll. And then in V2 also he'll just suck out dots and then just give you a bunch of meter, which you can use to build more chains, which lets you break more omens and stuff like that. Like this kid travels. This kid
He became a
travels.
real character.
He's a real character. It took what 6 years?
Don't talk to me about it. I was really sad when I pulled him.
Like he was one of those characters who got memed on real hard because he just didn't work.
He was actively bad.
He didn't grief you like the other old trash kings, but he was
Like Dark
bad.
Saradam.
Dark Saruman, Carmelina, and Gondogoza were the kings of trash back in the day. All right, on to Anne. So
My annotates are really long.
they changed a lot. So they took what happened to Somerzetta and they applied a lot of it to Anne, but as a defensive character instead of an offensive character. So where do you want to start with this one? There's a lot to go through. Probably
Spirit.
spirits. Yeah.
So it
So.
used to be that Protector Academy was that you start with 3 spirits,
Mhm.
and you consume spirits like Romeo and Juliet had. The difference was that the only way to get them back was the CA, and if you had 1 spirit on you, you had 30% unique attack and defense. When you yeah, that was that.
All right.
Nowadays, Protector Academy, you gain spirits of being targeted, so you get one. You can get one per turn,
Mhm.
and it gives her for each stack 10% perpetuity, 20% defense, 20% DA, 5% TA, and 5 hostility.
And so before she gets targeted, where does her hostility come from? It's follow the princess now. Okay.
And
And
also
that was
her
always
EMP
there.
node. That was about it.
Okay. So, but as the fight goes on and more spirits build up on her, then she will get even more hostility. All right.
Yep.
So yeah, we talked about the how they gave her the 200-meter thing, and she can only see it at 200-meter. Um, so new anti-collision spell is important to is the next thing to go to, and it used to just be a generic defense buff to your entire team, and you're like, okay. Now it
Yay. Ooh.
now it also gives armor,
Uh, it actually gave armor if you spit the spirit.
right?
Yeah, it's not good. Anyways,
And
now you don't need that.
mhm. And you get a boost defense based on how many spirits she has.
Stackable up to 75%. And the thing about this is this used to be on her skill 2,
hmm
but it only affected herself. This is affecting party.
So as long as you can get her to 200-meter relatively reliably, then she will give your team 175% defense. Note that like Hasalia's backline passive gets you up to 40%, so that can be 215% defense passively, and armored. Is the armored the standard 20% reduction?
Uh, Wiki says 70/30.
Oh, okay, so it's not a guaranteed one, and it's a 30% reduction. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, the part where you passively have 175% defense to your whole team,
Yeah, it's really good, huh?
yeah.
One of them stays on until like the foe tries to knock it off, but
hmm
the turn thrust, or CA, will give you the spell cancel for 1 turn at least.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that dispel cancel part in a second too, because there are 3 dispel cancels in water that I can think of right now, and they all do different things. All right, so follow the princess. Now it's tank encounter. It boosts. It's her only button-based way to boost her hostility to get her spirits up. She also attacks out of turn now. The
Yeah, why
attacking out
not?
of the attacking out of turn is important, by the way, because she needs to build 200-meter to do this again, and um, unlike Zeta, for example, she doesn't guarantee triple attack. Unlike Colossus, she doesn't have a button that just says eat HP, gain 200-meter. That said, she has a new skill 3.
Actually, can we talk about skill two's icon? It's pretty good, actually.
Uh, sure. Let me go to my Anne and then get to that URL. But anyway, uh,
But yeah, remember, as she gets spirit, she actually has higher chances of double tagging and triple tagging at the very least. Also, this is on 5 turn cooldown. It's not very long for someone who attacks out turn.
here we go. Here's Anne. Follow the princess. It's her summoning her heroic spirit.
Yeah, it's really good. It
Nice.
used to just be the normal counter icon.
Yeah, the cross counter like looking red guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. But the whole centerpiece of this whole thing is Radiant Calling now, because it's like, oh, it doesn't look that impressive. It's like 25% boost to meter. Restore HP is probably 1500.
Yep,
Remove a debuff. You're like,
correct.
okay, sure. Boost to specs at Spirit level 3. Boost to specs at Spirit level 5. At Spirit.
First off, can we talk about her old skill tree? By the way,
Okay, go ahead. Go for it. Go
it
for it.
was a green skill, B a 3k heal that removes all your debuffs if you spend a spirit. That was it. That's all it did.
All right. So now it gives her 25 meter, and then at Spirit Specs 3, it gives her 50 meter and heals her for twice as much.
3k, yep,
And at Spirit level 5, it gives her 75 meter and 4,500 heal.
and removes 3 debuffs.
Now let's put this all into context. So 75 meter is a lot for a normal character. It's half as effective for a character with 200. Sure. Putting this into real context, there's this weapon in the game called the Unsigned Kaneshige,
Yep,
and when you're holding it in your MC's hand, um, the uh, like
CA effect.
the CA effect is everybody gets what 30% extra meter gain. Um, yeah, and then also in perspective, this character Vajra, when she CAs a bunch of times, then she has a buff that gives everybody uh, 30% meter gain. So I was just testing these out,
And
and
what your numbers get to.
so the 75 meter becomes 120 meter with both of those characters, with the Unsigned Kaneshige and Vajra. And if she hits Follow the Princess to attack out of turn and triple attacks, that's 60 meter. And so on a 4-turn cooldown and a 5-turn cooldown, she has 120 meter and 60 meter on a button to herself.
Thankfully, they changed this to a yellow skill.
So, like, this is a very good kit now. Whether or not you want to use her, that's up to you. There's there's plenty of other powerful things to be doing. I'm not going to tell you to use her for your defensive stuff. But once
I use
again,
her for my defensive stuff.
yeah, once again, Dispel Cancel is a really powerful thing, and she will have it up more often than any of the other characters that have it in water.
All right,
Because
so we're checking right here. Grand Catalina, 7 turns.
and Sophia, Water Sophia has Dispel Cancel on her CA,
But
but
he locks herself
she
after that.
she locks herself out of CA for the next 2 turns after that.
Not to mention, most her kit time in her kit is not attacking.
Hmm. And so moving out of the constant healing mode of Sophia and into Anne for your Dispel Cancel needs, like you can reasonably have a Dispel Cancel that puts itself up every like 3 turns.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
Anne's pretty cool, you know. She tried to protect Naria.
Mysteria. Hmm.
Yeah, and
And
broke the school. Anyways,
so there's a lot working for Anne now, and then um, if you there's an extra slot in there in that team that I suggested, or even if you don't need to like throw all of that meter at her, there's a bunch of characters who work well with her because they feed her meter better. It's cool. I like what they did here. I'm sure that I will find uses for it because
I,
once a fight goes long, she is a queen. She's a
yeah, she
queen.
sits really pretty nicely in Wilderness.
Hmm. All right. So here comes Izmir. I think Izmir is going to be the one that we spend the least time on. So, number one, she has Glaciate on her CA now, and also her CA. Importantly, um, it's not the fact that they gave it something to do; it's that they removed a demerit from it.
Ah, your icy blades. Yeah, I'll take them all.
Yeah,
All two of them because you only stacked a two with this character.
yeah. And then there's Jotunheimer. It gives her an icy blade and gives her 15 meter. Okay,
50 meters new.
the 15 meter is new. Um, New White Worm. It is now a 0 turn cooldown instead of a 7 turn cooldown.
How do you cast it then?
You have to eat an icy blade,
Ah, but what do you get for it?
a level of Glaciate, stackable water defense down,
Up to 40%.
and um, 4 hits of water damage.
Yeah, they changed it from a single hit that did 400k to 4 hits that do 80k, but there are supplemental damage things that work make that way better.
And one of them comes on a Glaciate character who actually cares about how much Glaciate you have. It's like, okay, cool. The the annoying thing is that because it comes from a 0 turn cooldown, it does not work with Phylene, because Phylene cares about Glaciate that comes from a skill, sure, but
But it has to be.
0 turn cooldowns are always accepted from these things because they don't want uh, um, they don't want exploits on 0 turn stuff. So it's like that's a little sad, but okay. All right, then Dreams and Midsummer Nights. They increase the amount of attack that you get for Izmir's HP being high. And then here's the new thing. Um, Boost to water allies CA specs based on Glaciate, and it works when Izmir is a sub ally.
That's cool.
That is unique. It is not something that any other character has. Nobody has anything that keys off of Glaciate in the back line. So she goes. There's like a dozen water characters with backline passives now. You can just like customize based on what you want. But otherwise, this character didn't change really.
Yeah, she was bad in full auto to begin with.
Hmm.
That didn't change. But now
Yeah.
she has glaciates.
Now she has Glaciate, and
Oh yeah,
she
they
has
also got rid of her
Glaciate.
demerit for passive one.
Oh yeah,
She no longer has less defense and HP than everyone else.
yeah, that's also true. But I mean, yeah, the only thing that she got that was unique is the new support that works in the back line. And like I said, the problem is, like, if you go into water and you look for characters who have backline passives, the the list is very long. um, so out of characters that I personally have, so just SSR, water, with submember effects, I got the number right. There's 12. Doraemon, Macula
Oh yeah,
Marius, um,
that's Crest.
Aqua's second years,
What was their backline passive?
boost to Aqua members' multi attack rate based on number of Aqua's party members.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry about that one. Uh,
Hey, we love Aquaseki years.
Lisha, Summer Kag, Summer
Crest,
Kalulu,
Crest,
New, Summer Izmir,
Glaciate, new.
Charlotta, base Charlotta.
5% meter, I think.
Yep, 5% starting meter. Um, Hasalia,
She's Invoker.
yeah. Lily,
Crests?
crests. It's healing. I
Okay.
think it's healing based on crest, or is it fire damage reduction? Let me see. It is fire damage reduction.
Okay.
And Aglavale,
Crests.
it's actually boost to water attack to everyone as a buff when you
Oh, when
chain
you have
burst.
water. Yeah, okay, never mind. Yeah.
And then Maria Teresa.
Evoker.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, Summer Izmir, she got one of the worst reworks. Oh well. It's
Uh, she was gonna have a button that never works in full auto to begin with,
mhm.
and her third button, you didn't care about that in full auto.
Mhm.
So, she's definitely still very heavily you're playing the game character, but put her in the back line.
Okay. So Hasalia, um did you test her at all or should I just go off?
I accidentally test her, and she performs really well. By the
Yeah.
way,
Okay, you did test her. Okay. So, number 1, her moon buff is no longer dispellable. That's
cool.
enormous. Good. Jesus, I hated it. There's so I've had so
Please,
many
please.
Go ahead.
You always complain about the moon.
I always complain about the moon.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah, all right. Uh However, on her CA, she now ends the cooldown for phases of the moon, which is her skill 3.
Hmm.
That's enormous.
So before, the thing is that you would see you have moon, you don't have skill 3, and the skill 3 keys off of the moon for extra effects.
It enhances the moon too.
So
Um
when it says moon waxes, it accelerates the moon by a turn.
yes, and accelerating the moon, the less time is left on the moon buff, the better the moon buff is. Which would suck in like Hosselia actively made that buff worse by resetting it to to crescent moon when she CA'd. You had to turn off her CA in order to even up sniff full moon.
And now you can just go back to quarter with double casting phases of the moon after seeing,
Hmm. So
which
now,
you all have 30-meter now.
yeah, crescent moon just doesn't exist anymore for Hosselia. Good, thank God. I ugh. All right, we've talked enough about
Keep
this.
going.
Keep going. Boaz. Boaz was her blue skill. You double cast it when she comes in from the back. It is a delay and a stacking debuff.
And now it
Um,
just does damage.
and
Like,
it
why
does
not?
damage. Yeah. Now it's classified
Yeah,
as damage.
yeah, it'll still cast in full auto because skill 2 is a targeted move.
Hmm. So yeah, I mean that's a clear buff. Great. Uh, Phases of the moon. So it used to be freaking what 20% double attack. It's 100% now, I think.
Uh,
And you now get 20% triple attack from it from when you hit phases of the moon and you get Tears of Lunacy.
yep. It is now 20. You now get 20% TA, and because you'll be in quarter moon immediately, you also get 20% water damage, bonus water damage. That's nice.
It is nice. And then the last thing that they gave her, the moon reversed. Um, it used to be that you got like 2% defense, 1% attack a turn, and it
And
maxed
it
out at turn
20
20.
turns.
Now
Now it's 10 turns.
it's 10 turns. It's the same max as before, but you get it way before because even in freaking like super ultimate Bahamut, turn 20 is hard to sniff. Like you've gotta be mega grinding in order to get to turn 20 on a lot of raids these days. Soloing Beelzebub and soloing Belial are like the more reliable ways to get to turn 20 and beyond. So having this happen faster, really nice. This is the other thing about like phases of the moon resetting on a CA. So, 15% meter that you get every time that you press it, and you press it twice if she came in from the back.
Which is you're wrong to do that, to be honest.
Hmm. And so there's a character that we can actually very easily compare this to because a 30% meter boost every time you CA, you say. Where are you, Valentine's Monica? Here we go. There you are, Valentine's Monica. So Valentine's Monica has been used for the past, year plus to loop CAs. You Because she gets all of her skills back when she CAs, and the first one on this list is a 30% meter gain. People have built Earth teams that full chain every turn using. So in Earth's case, it is the Eternal number 8, Earth Satyr to increase the amount of damage you're doing each of those times, and also have very solid defense. And once again, the
And then Monica.
Kaneshige. What's
And
up?
yeah,
Yeah.
Monica and Kaneshige.
So you can now exactly replicate what Earth does as water, and it is still strong. Like you replace Eado with like Vajra, another 200-meter character. You can fill in the Satyr spot with pretty much anybody, and then you have Hosselia taking the Monica spot, and that has a lot of application. And we're seeing a huge explosion of frontline Hosselia. Good, she deserves it.
I bought that skin. Haha.
Haha.
I was smart.
But yeah,
You definitely do need to bring this character in from the back though. You really want those double casts and stuff.
yes. Um, And then the last thing that I wanted to mention, like I did say that when this character is out there, Crescent Moon no longer exists. And you're just basically permanently in Quarter Moon because since you're gaining so much meter, you're not going to be waiting 2 more turns to get to full moon unless you are very intentionally turning this off in order to get your reflection of the moon to full moon state.
I don't know why you're doing that if you're really doing this, to be honest.
Yeah. So,
Just CA.
I mean, the thing is though, raising the floor is extremely important for the moon buff. Like my complaints on the moon buff have always been based on how low the floor is and how unlikely it is for that floor to go up. Now, the floor gets raised and you're always there. One of my biggest complaints is gone. Just you'll never hear me talk about that one as if it's a real thing. It is a thing of the past. Thanks. Finally. God.
Yeah, I use the character frontline now. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
she's great.
Yeah, my fourth water character is Colossus.
Who is my water suicide if I'm trying to do like a solo
You get suicide in water.
like you would have to basically just use a substitute. Anyway, yeah, the most common solo for event
Rockham,
solo
yeah.
substitute is the most common solo substitute and sacrifice is actually Onrei. Uh,
But you have to
largely,
also know which thing will actually kill him.
yeah, like that's it. He was the one of the main substitutes to sacrifice to Phosphorus to get Hosselia in, and then you would actually bring him back out in your Blue Sea solos. Um, it's like in the Super Bahamut strategy where you swap out your substitutes constantly, then it's him in like Water Rosetta, Halloween Rosetta. So I guess
Oh yeah, she does have a sub all.
she does have a sub all, and yeah, it's a pretty good one. She does a bunch of other stuff before she dies. Anyway, all right, we're done with Fire and Water. Time check. This is our hour, DJ. Are you okay to go for the next 4, or should we punt to next week?
Let's do the next four.
Okay, these are probably going to be short anyway,
I
except
we
for
came to
Ire.
agreement. We came to agreement last night where some of these are okay.
Yeah. All
Question
right.
mark?
So let's start with Ilsa. So ba- let's just say what Ilsa does on full auto now, because that's basically what they built this for. So she used to have a skill that took 3 turns to ready itself, I think.
Correct. And it still had a 10-turn cooldown afterwards.
10-turn cooldown. God. All right. So instead of actually just looking at the changes, I'm just going to look at Ilsa as she is right now because it's not worth thinking about what she used to do. So
I'm looking at what she used to do. I have notes on that already. Ready
okay. So
now.
turn 1.
Go.
She starts with 9 bullets. She's always started with 9 bullets. She then presses Sacred Hell on turn 1. She uses up 2 of her bullets. It petrifies. It does plain damage. Okay, sure. So you're down to 7 bullets. Then she hits Evensong, 3 hits, which is up from the single hit it used to do before, right?
Correct. It used to be 420k, 1 hit to 3 hits of 185k, and you have to put a reminder in here. She has a passive that supplements her damage.
When she's not out of bullets. But then she does a minus defense, so now she's down to 6 bullets. Then, this is the new part of her turn 1 sequence. She then eats the remaining 6 bullets, and she does a bunch of earth damage.
165k per hit. It used to be that she autoed.
Mm-hmm.
But she
And
also gains 15% meter per bullet.
so she gains 90 meter off of this, assuming that she's hit the other 2 skills first. This is still a 10-turn cooldown, by the way, but at least it is a many hit nuke, and she fills up her meter on turn 1. Now she's out of bullets. It used to be that it was Sacred Hell that required you to be out of bullets, right?
You need to be at 0 bullets in order to use Secret Hill.
Ugh. Now you can actually press this button. So she went from one button that is pressable on turn one to three buttons that are pressable on turn one. Then she immediately CAs, which
And
gives her all of her
reloads.
which gives her all of her bullets back. It gives her TA, guaranteed TA. How many turns is it for her?
1 turn after.
Oh, only one turn? Okay. But that's her sequence now. Her previous sequence was hit even song, attack.
The funnier thing was that her CA used to give 2 turns of local DA down. Woohoo!
Yeah. It
That is useless.
Alright. So anyway, that's Ilsa. That's
There's the thing. You still have to talk about passive one.
okay.
So it now actually, when you consume that bullet for a normal attack,
Mhm.
you gain a stackable attack up on a
Mhm.
unique modifier, up to 50%. It used to be that you use bullet to attack. That was it.
God.
And her supplemental damage went up from 20k to 30k.
Okay.
That's it.
Like she has gone from bad to she felt bad to play to she actually does something now. She has a sequence,
It's
right?
playable.
You hit skill 1, you hit skill 2, you hit skill 3, she CAs on that first turn. Then while you're waiting for that, you use up the bullets on attacking and she gets buffs for that. Okay, sure. But she at least has a thing that she does now. Cool. On to Eustace.
My notes for Eustace. All right. CA no longer drains his loaded status.
Yep.
My note in here was thank God. Imagine building up a resource just to burn it all.
Yeah, just like Izmir up above.
Yeah, but his was a lot more stacks.
Mhm. All right. So, next up it is so antisocial used to be crit and like earth attack or something like that. It was weird.
Uh, no, it used to cost meter,
That's what, oh my god. All right, sure.
and it now instead of just only giving the crit, it gives 60% CA damage and 15% CA cap. My note in here was this went from bad to mediocre.
Yeah. All right, slow kill. Why
Slow
did it
death.
change to say 8 hit earth
Oh.
damage? Was it light damage before?
No.
Why does it change to 8 hit why is the earth part in red?
I don't know.
Well, anyway, sorry. So, uh all right, slow kill. It now interacts with the Thunderstruck debuff, which, by the way, he's the first one in Earth to have Thunderstruck, I think, because it's on Dark Albert and
Poseidon.
Poseidon, and now him. Okay, so but I mean, it's
Wait,
starting to. You
there's
can.
there's one other character. It's in water.
Who did I miss?
Is it Doraemon?
Does Doraemon have Thunderstruck? Doraemon does have Thunderstruck.
I remember stupid things. Let's go.
Nice. So anyway, um, so 8 hits of damage, low damage per hit, gives Thunderstruck. Everybody gets meter. Okay. And then the Flamek Pact is boost to CA specs. It's anything with Thunderstruck. It doesn't scale based on Thunderstruck. It is just as long as Thunderstruck is on there,
Get
30% boost.
30% speed damage and 10% cap.
Yeah. Um,
My note in here was why did he have 70% faster gain on taking damage? He doesn't have taunt or hostility nodes.
I don't know. Okay, I just don't. But yeah, he still gains loaded based on pressing a button. Um, the like the loaded builds to 5 and gives him pretty decent self buffs on his CA. Like once he gets to five, once he's hit 5 buttons, which happens on turn 5,
Yep.
then he gives himself a permanent, now permanent, 50% attack up, which is the unique, 200% CA damage up, and 160% CA cap up.
Yeah,
AKA
that's
he's just,
usable.
yeah, like you will actually reasonably get to that point now where you used to never get it, and
And it stays.
it
There's no
stays.
getting rid of it.
Yeah. So welcome to the hard cap, Eustace. Whether or not that's something that you want, I mean, it's better. It might have been a holdover
Yeah,
from the time
that's
he used to
that's
paralyze
about it.
himself with loaded. Oh god. All right. Next up, Ire. Ire changed a pretty big amount.
Yeah, ours is actually pretty good.
All right. So Ire's CA went to. He now gives himself. He always gave himself Earth Chaser. Now he also gets 30% meter when he does it.
Yep, both CAs do this.
Hmm. And then yeah, beat the wall when he gets to 5 star. It also gives him the triple attack. The new
Well,
jolt
triple attack was
count.
already there, but yeah.
What was that?
The triple attack was always there, but yeah.
Yeah, the new jolt counter. Let's just ignore the first jolt counter because you're not going to consider this character in his 4 star state. Let's go talk about 5 star. The new jolt counter has a skill cooldown of 0 turns, which means it only turns on if you actually want to turn it on. It will not activate in full auto, and it will not turn itself off in full auto.
However, you kind of want to turn this thing on.
So every turn he eats 20% meter.
Used to be 10.
He gives himself dodge and tank encounter 3 hits every turn. And they removed the demerit on it where he couldn't. Let's see.
CA.
He couldn't CA. He can also he always was able to normal attack in this form, right? In Jolt
Yes,
Counter 2 specifically.
correct.
Okay. So now he attacks normally while in Jolt Counter 2 stance. He stays in it even in full auto. If it's one of those things where people are willing to accept. I will hit one button on full auto and then leave this alone. So Jolt Counter 2 will do that. He eats 20 meter, but he also substitutes in the tanks and counters, so you get both. You get both worlds. He gets amplified counter attacks,
Yep,
aka
30% as well.
yeah.
So,
So it's
same as
now the
Lisa.
yeah now it's the standard. Um, and so the new Ashen Roar, he gets his. It used to be hostility up. Now it changes to substitute and undying. It officially got renamed. And if he's in the red, which you may remember, Ire is defined for his ability to punch himself into single-digit HP, I mean,
No, I
and
say.
when he's almost knocked out, it gives him anytime assassin.
Yeah, so the thing is, the anytime assassin used to be just there normally,
Hmm.
and it was a one time over 2 turns. Now you have to be at below 25% health, which is super easy still to accomplish with this character. So it's not really a change,
Yeah. Uh,
but it lasts a turn
hmm. And
instead of being one time.
it is a weak multiplier as assassin goes, but the important part on most of these assassins is the uncap. And the fact is, given that he's at like 1 HP, he gets a huge amount of attack from just having himself at low HP, and so he will hit hard. Him punch hard.
And it's for that entire turn once it's said.
Hmm.
And if he's countering, he's doing jolt counter 2
Hmm.
and countering with amplified and assassin. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean Henri does that and it's sick. So yeah, yeah. Dauntless used to be the Undying, and now it's become a brand new assassin buff. Yeah, I don't think there's too much to say about Ire. Like people who were complaining about him not being an easy sack to any evoker, I think everybody just knows how to bring in an evoker now. So play him as him.
Yeah,
This
you
character's
literally
cool.
just let him rock.
Yeah. Like, I will definitely put him on the squad of like the enmity punch myself in the face squad because Ire Fiorito sounds really funny.
I totally forgot that his chaser lasts 5 turns.
Mm-hmm.
This character's so sick.
He's cool. And now we just look at Haria.
Uh let's see here. My notes here say this character is still really bad in full auto.
Okay, so let's go look at Haria as she is now, and just talk about what she needs to try and do, what she's trying to do, and why this still is bad.
All right. So first off, her CA Mercenary Blade. You used to need to have 5 stacks in order to get the second effect, which was able to auto cast skill 1. Now it just does it by itself.
But there's a but here. It's 40k damage a hit, and even with like 200k supplemental from 2 world enders, right? Then you're doing like 1.5 million damage or something like that as an additional. A
Yeah.
bunch of other characters already do that and don't need double world ender. They just need skill cap up. Like Siegfried does it. Summer Alexiel does it at end of turn. It will very slightly out damage Holiday Magisa's after turn nuke, but
Holiday
won't
Magisa
dispel.
also just fills everybody's meter.
Yeah. Um, it will not out damage. It will barely out damage Dante's post turn nuke. Like,
Dante can double strike out turn.
yeah, like this is it's still so bad. It's
This
still
character's bad.
yeah. Like the one case where this outdoes other characters in any way, shape, or form is in Sandbox, where you get 200k skill supplemental on a book, and you don't need to equip 2 world enders. But you don't need this character in Sandbox. Like I
No.
can pretty much fill a team with SRs and put those same books on, and still one-shot the defenders.
Yeah. So other things with this kit is that they didn't do anything skill 1. Skill 2 removed its 50% cut and is now 1,000% defense. My note in here is it's technically better if the damage is not static, which a lot of damage is static. Her skill 3, which doesn't activate in full auto because it's a green skill, gives her 3 steadfast, so she can cast skill 1. Woo hoo hoo!
So the doing 7 hits is, you know, relatively reasonable, but it still eats a resource. Um,
Resource that doesn't autocast.
it does
And this is
autocast when her HP is 50% or below.
okay, and yeah, you got me there. I guess there's that positive side.
But her only way to get herself hit is to substitute, and it costs her 30% meter.
Yeah, well, she gets meter for getting hits, up to 5% per hit.
That part is kind of neat, but honestly, the thing with her is still I'm just going to like go to live by the blade. She exists to give other people skill spec up.
Yeah, because so one of the things about this is that her like main use case you could think for using her is the octopus, where it hits multiple times. She'll probably be hit a lot of times during that,
Hmm.
and you're turboing out your CAs, right?
Right.
There's better CA engines in Earth that don't
Like,
even require limiteds, by the way.
hmm.
Like you have like Satyr. We're going back to Satyr. Satyr's really amazing. So this is still kind of unfair, but Satyr is like a way better turbo for CAs, and also she autocasts nukes that do
And
other
heals.
things.
She autocasts nukes and she autocasts heals and she gives people meter and yeah. Um, but yeah, like the number of characters who have a nuke after their CA, if you're looking for like OT one turn kill stuff, right? It's like here's Siegfried. Siegfried is sort of the baseline. He does like a 600 something K nuke with Yggdrasil's Bow. It goes up to like 900K, and then it goes up to like 1.2 or something like that with your Seraphic.
Mm-hmm.
There, in order for her nuke to get up to 1.2 million, you need World Ender. Like you need a, you need a lot of work on this in order to get her into a state where
And
she
it's
will
not really worth it.
like the Hari assist can get you some of the way there. Not Hari assist. Is it Hari assist? It's the Earth, the Bennu bow. What is it called? Ished. Like she can get more supplemental that way, and then at a certain point, the supplemental will outdo these big nukes, but it requires a lot of effort, a lot of effort, and yeah,
Well, Lyle Bow and her own supplemental damage from her support is 90k. That's still
it's still a lot of work. Like,
that's not there's not a good payoff. There's really not a good payoff.
yeah,
There's
like,
like I said, there's one use case I can see.
like it is so much work to get this character above like a generic baseline. Cause like, let's see, I'm just gonna flip through characters who, because we were talking about this, where it's like, all right, Monica does like a 600k nuke at the end of her CA,
And
and
it has the debuff.
if she dodges, she gets another one. That one the if she dodges is it's not actually that rare because she gets dodged
Yeah,
right
she
up.
pretty dodges a lot,
Yeah,
especially when she
so
uses the skill.
so Monica can double nuke. Who else nukes after a CA? Eugen needs to press a button to do it, but it's still a pretty beefy one. Um, Dante does it. We already talked about Magisa.
Stories.
Oh
Puts a buff on himself
yeah,
that autocast at the end of turn.
oh
Not end of turn,
yeah,
when he attacks.
yeah. Fundoshi Fist Effect. I forgot about that.
It's really good.
Yeah, Lobelia has like a generic nuke after he CAs as well.
Yeah, Tower just punches things.
hmm And yeah, like I said, like it's so much effort to get this to the point where it goes past that. After you get to that point, then sure, but where is the content where that is necessary right now? Is my question.
And even then, you still would rather use like other things.
hmm
Like also going back to Satyr. Satyr has hostility.
Yeah. So anyway, too much effort for too little reward. If you really love, like really love Haria, then you can put in that effort to get a slightly better CA than a bunch of the normal ass characters we've named off. Like, I honestly don't even think her use for Unite and Fight EX Plus is that strong of a use
No,
case.
no, it's
Like,
not.
there's so many other characters who are better suited for it that will nuke after their CA or, do things like that. Like, if you can show me a common use case where you are missing all of the characters who would normally be good for Unite and Fight EX Plus, so we have to eliminate. So you don't have Ilnat, you don't have Tsuchinoko, so we eliminate that. You have to remove access to like the forbiddance and temptation chains. So you have get remove the Golden Knight.
You really just want to cut off all my legs and arms at this point?
It's like you remove Silva from you remove Silva from that because you're only doing a 3 chain. So like you're it takes such a stretch of the imagination for me to use her in a reasonable Unite and Fight EX plus zero button.
Yeah, no.
It takes a lot.
All right, see you again in 4 years from now.
By Harriet. Like one of the video makers that I respect a lot, Takagura or something like that, Dengaku. Dengaku posted Harriet's picture in all gray. Just
Yeah, like a funeral still.
yeah, it's just like there is no reason for you to be on this boat. We'll see you again.
Look, she's dealing with hunters or something, right? That's what happens. I don't know. She was in this event that's coming up.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so that's 90 minutes. We're done, DJ. We're done. We're out of here. We've covered all 13 characters that we were gonna cover.
You know,
Uh,
as much as I hate on Earth, Harriet didn't deserve this.
so anyway, tonight is very likely going to be Flash Gala. They didn't post the usual noon JST banner update, so
I already spent my roll because I'm like, I don't expect anything from singles, so
yeah,
just spend it.
it's 100% fair. We're finally at the end of the current half off campaign. We will very likely get a new set of half offs in July, first, and it'll
Yeah.
be all summer long again. So
When is half off over? Well, we are half off's actually being over.
yeah, it's gonna be pretty soon. Let me go check and see how long we have left on the campaign exclusive quest. 30 hours. So that's when everything's ended. We're wrapped up.
Did you spend your surprise ticket?
I did. I got Kupiton.
Ah, nice. That's a good choice.
It's a
I
very
spent
common choice.
I spent mine on Donua.
That's fine.
I just want to be lazy and fed heal. To be honest, that's
I
all I
mean,
really want to do.
that's totally fair. So anyway, um, yeah, like we didn't cover any of the quality of life changes. We can cover that next week. Um, but there's just a bunch of like little quality of life changes that we've been asking for a while, and they gave to us. Yay!
Yeah, let's talk about it next week.
Yeah. So with that, thanks for joining us. Thanks for talking about GBF character balance for like 90 minutes, DJ.
Yeah, no problem.
I have to figure out what I'm going to be doing for the next 5 hours.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
I should
You
go
have
to
to think
sleep and get
about.
ready for that.
Yeah. We should let people know that we will be probably doing this on Wednesday instead
Oh yeah,
for next
next
week.
week we're very likely doing this on Wednesday instead of Thursday because Fanime's coming up, and Thursday we're planning on doing completely different things because that's Fanime Day Zero.
Day 0.
Zero.
That's when people are coming in to our hotels and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, thanks everyone. I can take away the JJ and the Clarice now. Oh
Okay,
jeez.
done, Joe.
I am 100% commissioning Art of Clarice as the MC at a party, and then some. I figure I should put Cagliostro as the DJ, right?
Unfortunately, neither of these are in D4 DJ for me.